will just push on. The petition at the moment, it's called the Children's Manifesto, if I'm right, Paul? Hello? Hello?
Yes, I'm here.
Oh, can you hear me?
So, yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Okay. Right. So
Great.
this Children's Manifesto is to ensure that the voice of street-connected children is heard within the corridors of power. And I'm very excited to be part of this extraordinary work. Seeing a number of you on the platform today is a clear reminder that we are all committed to the work. And, you know, it also shows or demonstrates the hard work and the passion that we all continue to demonstrate in support of street-connected children. I'm sure, and I know that many of you have made great investments in the lives of street children. And may God bless you and thank you for your dedication as you we here in England, we continue to hear heartwarming stories about the changed lives of children because of your work. But unfortunately, sometimes your hard work is not really recognized. It goes unnoticed in the wider community in Ghana. And as a result, there is often a lack of recognition as well. And it's sad to say that sometimes there is not enough attention also given to the needs of street-connected children. However, the goal of this conference, I believe, is to encourage us to continue to advocate on behalf of street-connected children as their needs continue to be important today. And it's even more important now, given how COVID-19 has further compounded and disrupted the livelihoods and lives of many more street-connected children and their families. Our goal as stakeholders, in my view, is to continue the fight. And I believe this goal is shared with everybody on the platform to ensure we achieve the reasons why we work with vulnerable children. As you all are aware, this is election year. This is election year, pardon me. And I'm sure that most of you have had sight. You've seen the different manifestos that the political actors have launched in Ghana. It's important that we as stakeholders, we need to ensure that the needs of street-connected children will also be clearly captured as part of the overall safeguarding the lives of vulnerable children in Ghana in the near future. We are presenting the Children's Manifesto, and I trust that the document containing the views of vulnerable children will be adopted by all of you, and that all of you would also agree to work collaboratively to achieve what the children have asked for in the manifesto. This manifesto, in my view, would remain a document with children's wishes and intentions if we do not fight together to ensure that it's translated into real life-changing experiences of children. And to achieve this, it's quite obvious that it will require all of us developing a culture of accountability and commitment from all stakeholders and institutions. Working in partnership with each other cannot be overemphasized enough as we move forward. This is because vulnerable children come with complex and multiple needs, which will always require partnership, interagency, and multidisciplinary approaches to working. The truth is that no one single agency represented here today has all the resources and the expertise required to provide children with comprehensive wraparound service, which will help them to achieve positive and sustainable outcomes. It's rather unfortunate because we continue to work in our silos as agencies. And in all honesty, silo working is good. And I admit that it also has benefits because it helps agencies to maintain their unique identity, which is not necessarily a bad thing. But clearly, there is a moving away from silo working. And I will give you a few examples in the UK. The Children's Act 2004 places a duty on all agencies who work with children to work in partnership with each other. And this is because of the complex needs always presented by vulnerable children. At present, all our government agencies and voluntary sector agencies who work with vulnerable children, they work in partnership with each other. And there's very little silo working. Our social services department, for example, who have the overall legal mandate to protect the welfare of children, they now work together collaboratively, and they bring together social workers, health personnel, schools, police, education to work together for the benefit of all children. And in some cases in England, these different professionals also sit together as one team, and they share information as one team for the benefit of children. I must admit, some of these models have got their own challenges, but the benefits to children can never, ever be overstated because it's got a lot of benefits for children. And it also has a lot of benefits for agencies as well. Research shows that partnership working helps partners to maximize the use of their resources. Partnership working with each other will make us more creative. We will achieve a more coordinated approach in delivering and implementing services for children across the country. More importantly, joint up working will also afford us the opportunity to share our expertise with each other. We will be able to also work jointly to identify gaps in service delivery. It will also help us develop policies and procedures. It will help us develop joint up funding bits. And we can jointly also procure services, which in my view would be far more cheaper than one single agency trying to procure a service, because you may not have the funding to do that. Above all, it will also help us speak with one voice. And as you all know, if we are louder together, we cannot be easily ignored, because at the moment, it would appear that sometimes we are ignored. There are unintended outcomes also from partnership working. And this would include being more efficient as NGOs. We will be able to also cut out waste and duplication, because we are already duplicating what each other is doing. And partnership working in the long term will also make us very efficient. We'll be able to save money, and we can work together, and hopefully we will be able to achieve sustainable outcomes for children in all dimensions. Working in partnership is now a trend, whether we like it or not. And it's a trend in many countries across the world. And it's not just working with vulnerable children. It is actually working together, bringing services, sectors, and institutions together. And this is in an attempt for institutions and countries to secure sustainability for all, and basically to also save money. I want to draw your attention to this document, which is the United Nations Sustainable Development document. And it's a document that has been put together by the United Nations, and it informs some of the activities of the nations across the world, and it provides a blueprint as to how countries can achieve a better and more sustainability for all. Goal 17 contained in the SDG document actually advocates for partnership working as a way forward for countries and nations to achieve sustainability, and working together or in partnership with street-connected children in Ghana should not be an exception, especially now that resources across the globe is very limited. And I guess most of you know what I'm talking about because of the pandemic across every country. It's everywhere. So everybody is actually looking after their finances and their money, and nobody's got the money that they're going to give to another person in that way. So we've got limited resources. So we've got to be very smart and seize this opportunity and to come and work together so that we'll be more efficient. I would like to take this opportunity to challenge all of us today to come together and take a collective action and to take control of our destinies and the destinies of the children that we work with. I believe that today we will agree that the petition that we want to present to the three arms of government will be a way forward in supporting street-connected children. And also for us as stakeholders to agree in principle to now look at working collaboratively with each other and minimize silo working in order for us to achieve positive outcomes for vulnerable children. And I believe if we're able to do that, as NGOs, we will also eventually become self-sustainable as we move along. So this is my little address to you all that in presenting our petition and agreeing on it, that we will need to think very carefully as to how we progress the work from here on, how we will work with each other, how we will come together and work together and be a force for people to contend with. So I believe we'll be able to come to some sort of agreement, you know, by close of play today. And thank you very much for your time. And I believe that your contribution to this platform today will be very invaluable. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Auntie Christiana. You have just spot on, redirected, brought all of us attention as to partnership work, how to consolidate our efforts, especially connecting it with examples in the UK and also the SDG Goal 17. At this point, our board chair is had a technical problem, but he's been able to join us. He will quickly welcome all of us to this seminar, and we take it from there. Dr. Bella, you're welcome.
Yeah, thank you very much. Good morning. Once again, apologies. I came to the office and it just wasn't kicking in. It's gotten a bit better now. So thank you very much for understanding, for the patience, and quickly fixing it to such an extent that Christiana was on and gave a very, very good, insightful, and really giving a talk that really kickstarts the whole process. Thank you once again, Seth, for organizing this, such a young organization. I remember the first day when I met this young man coming into my office as the director, country director for Right to Play. Then, and I said, wow, I mean, homemade, young man. And I said, come on, that is what we want. And that is it, you know. From that time till now, we are celebrating 10 years working with children. I mean, there are certain things that cannot be paid. The gratitude cannot be seen and felt now. And what you are doing, you are not doing it for now, you are doing it for generations to come. And thank you so much. I am also excited as the board chair of SEF. Christiana is my colleague. Joylene is there, and all the SEF staff members, including Paul. Thank you so much. I get amazed at how I see the passion and the dedication and commitment that you put into your work. Thank you so much. You are on course. It is not easy, but well done. And I think all your partners, I can imagine, they are passing through the same thing. Christiana made mention of a few things. You see, it is very normal in an NGO charity social intervention area for people involved in that to be chasing the same pot. It is very normal. But what you need to understand is don't look at each other as the enemy. Look at each other as the compatriot. Look at each other as a partner. You complement each other. Such interventions are multi-stakeholder intervention strategy. It is a strategy that encourages, that promotes, that motivates, that progresses if you come together and you are strong. And just as Christiana said, SDG goal 17, you should even come back to SDG goal number 16, which talks of the justice for all in society. And so the thing is, think global, operate within this framework, but act local. Who are my partners here? And one thing I would really like to tell you to do is that innovation, that creativity, be it in your intervention strategy or be it in your fundraising. Most often, we realize that there is a lot of dependence on the principal north to bring the resources for work to be done. And they have their own agenda, they have their priorities, they have their direction, their ideology, their philosophies, from their government to the NGOs or charities that give them the money. And that thing then get transferred and imposed here. So you are not always free to operate the way you would want to operate or the direction you would want to go, because you are influenced, determined, and directed by your principal north. So in as much as I say, let's work with the principal north, let the principal north cooperate, collaborate with us, we should also try and look at ways of getting resources, funding, and strategies in cash and in kind from our local environment, from internal sources here. That is very, very important. Otherwise, when a situation like the one we have comes in now, like this pandemic, where everybody is saving, and the first place where they save are areas within the social welfare and charity, then we suffer, because if the others don't even get it, how do we get it over here? So it is very important that we try to collaborate, we try to partner, you think global and act local, ensure this multi-stakeholder strategy, don't see each other as an enemy. And I am very, very happy and thank you so much for your commitment. And I'm sure by the end of the day, you would even have further and more ideas than where you are. Look at who you are, where you came from, how you started. Today, you are giving petition to the biggest decision makers, policy makers. That is exactly what we want you to do. We want you to address the symptoms, the root cause, not only when the thing has already blown, the children are vulnerable or they are here and they are here, we say, let's resolve the issue. What you are doing today with the petition is going deeper than just addressing the problem when it surfaces or when it surfaces, but rather saying, hey, we can allow the problem not to surface, not to manifest, by going to those people who have the influence and the power, by influencing decision makers and policy. And I say kudos to that. Take it up. Thank you so much. Christiana, Paul, Joelyn, Seth, all other partners, thank you so much. Have a great and wonderful 1.5 to 2 hours conference and interaction. And please see it as the beginning of the beginning. Thank you. God bless you and have a great day.
Thank you very much, Dr. Bella, for that heartwarming message. Our board chair never disappoints. He's always on point with this message, and I'm glad that today he's able to join us. We'll go quickly to a person who has done a lot in terms of research when it comes to street children, someone who I met first, and immediately we connected on the work, and we have since been connected and working deeply. Dr. Enesina Denchi will give us an overview. This petition is not just a self thing. We began, I just want to give a precedent before she gives her speech. It's been a precedent, something we started before COVID, and unfortunately we had to put it on a hold. But the point we got to with the stakeholders, we put together this petition, but we presented it as a self-petition, and I hope that all the other partners here would indulge that. For now, this is just a start, like our board chair says. Dr. Denchi will present the overview, and we would, when we go to the open forum session, we can all give our comment, things we feel should be added, so that together we can all make sure our voices and the voices of children are ultimately heard. Thank you, Dr. Denchi. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Paul, and thank you everybody for this opportunity. Paul has introduced me. I'm a research fellow at the Center for...
Yeah, very well, and you?
Yeah, not too bad. Still got pain in my arm.
I'm a research fellow at the Center for Social Policy Studies. Paul, could you please allow me enable me share screen?
Yeah.
Paul, could you kindly enable me share screen?
Yes, sure.
Okay. So my task here is actually quite simple and brief, but very important, to give an overview of the petition, and also to sort of to put the petition in context while we are doing this, and then we can all have our stay during the open forum to enrich the petition and then see how far we go with that. So as I wait for Paul to enable me share screen, I have a few slides to share. You done that? Okay.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Please give me a moment. Technology.
Yes.
Okay. Right. Share. Okay, so we went to the very last. Can you all see my screen, please? Yeah. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Yes.
So let me put it on slideshow. Okay. All right, so I want to start with a background, just putting the petition in context, and I want to commend Ghana, for our unwavering commitment. In fact, Ghana's commitment towards its children has been unwavering, starting from being the very first country. Some of you may know, or maybe all of us know, that Ghana was the very first to ratify the convention, the United Nations Convention on the Rights of Children, in 1990. And we followed it up with the Children's Act, Act 560 in 1998. Ever since, there's been a lot of progress. The Ghana National Commission on Children, the Ministry of Women and Children's Affairs, now the Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection. There's been the National Action Plan on Orphaned and Vulnerable Children, where the children that we are very particular about fall. So our street children in street situations will fall generally under the OVCs, what we call the OVCs, Orphaned and Vulnerable Children. There's also been the Child and Family Welfare Policy and the Juvenile Justice Policy, which were both launched in 2015, and quite a number of social interventions that target children. So we have the LEAP, and LEAP has a lot of complementary services targeted at children. Like if you are enrolled on LEAP, you can go to school for free. It is a condition. If you're a LEAP household, a child in a LEAP household has to be enrolled in school. And then the NHIS covers parents with children. So Ghana has done quite a lot. But like the proverbial saying goes, there is always more room for improvements, particularly when it comes to our children, the children we are interested in. So I want to give a brief overview of situation of street children in Ghana. The phenomenon is not getting any better. I say that my first contact with street children was in 2002 when I was doing my internship with the Catholic Action for Street Children. And it's been 18 years, and I can't say in the last 18 years that it's getting any better. It's they are increasing in number, and qualitatively, the dimensions of children in street situation keep expanding. At one time, you think you have just children on the street and children off the street. Then it comes to children in the street. Then it comes to children who go and come, you know. So the dimensions are widening by the day, especially. It's a global phenomenon, but it's increasingly becoming problematic in low middle income countries where we belong, Ghana. Data on street children is a no-no. You don't even want to go there. Again, it's a global phenomenon. So somebody, an author, a researcher called it guesstimations. What we live on is just guessing or estimating the number of. So you will see somewhere that the UN reports that there is 150 million street children worldwide, yet there is even no source for this data. So it's a problem. And how do you account for people if you can't count them? And there are no, because of that, there are lack of specialized interventions. I mentioned in the earlier slides that our children fall in the category of orphaned and vulnerable children. But if you look at the analysis, if you do an analysis of all the interventions and policies that have been rolled concerning children, you realize that our children are still fall through the cracks. So they are not taken care of. Even within the OVC population, our children still lack. They still lag behind in development. So far, measures have been ad hoc, and I won't go far. COVID-19, which has been an exposer of many things. COVID-19 has exposed so many people and so many things. It's a clear example of how we deal with the situation of street children. It was pretty sad during the 3-week lockdown where children who were trying to flee, go back home, were asked to stay back. So then the situation was, where is home? Because don't go home. Stay here, and not here they're on the streets, and the measures that were taken. And then I asked a number of the NGOs I've been working with, have you been contacted by government to do this? And they say, no, government hasn't spoken to us. So that has been the situation. Measures on the part of government has so far been ad hoc when it comes to street children, rounding them up, putting them in shelters without any plan. That has been the situation. I have to say and commend NGOs, and this is also a global phenomenon. Worldwide, NGOs have held the fort for taking care of children in street situations. And in our parts, in Ghana, for almost 30 years, starting from about the oldest, which is Catholic Action for Street Children, in the early 90s, they've been working. And in my research for the past 18 years, I see NGOs doing an amazing job. And the petition, today's conference, and the number of NGOs registered to partake in this conference attest to the fact that NGOs have been the ones holding the fort and doing all the work when it comes to working with street children. Government has not collaborated enough with NGOs. NGOs screams to get government's attention, having gotten far. And as we say, when two elephants fight, the grass suffer. Government and NGOs are not fighting, just that they are not collaborating. So in this situation, our children are always caught in the web. And that is why this petition is one of the many things in the pipeline. As Paul said, the NGOs have come together. We had a lot of plans and COVID showed up, but we are not relenting. So self-presenting this petition is one of many, many, many ideas and plans in the pipeline or underway to get the attention of in the corridors of influence to come to understand that children, especially children in street situations, life matter and they have to be taken care of. So this petition that has been signed by a number of NGOs, most of whom are present here, by ordinary Ghanaian citizens who also understand what is going on, by members of SEF, by board members of SEF, and some beneficiaries of SEF, is targeted at the highest office of the land to address the following critical issues when it comes to street children. We are asking the highest offices of this land to develop a proactive safeguarding and protection mechanisms for children in street situations. By this, we are asking for family welfare. I mentioned the interventions that do not cover these children because they are all household-based. And majority, the only census we had in Accra in 2011, 2012, indicates that 65% of the population we call street children are those who live and work on the street. So the other ones are those who come and go home. So these 65 won't be covered by these services because they are household based. So NGOs have to proactively go and get these children and get NHIS to register them. We are asking for this to stop. Government should take proactive measures to provide family welfare, child counseling, and associated services for these children. Ensure that no child sleeps in an open space at night. When it's night and it's raining and we are all changing gears and drawing the blankets, these children are also changing position on the streets because they have to move and hide under sheets and under covers to make sure they are not affected by the rain. This shouldn't be the story of any child. Abuse. Ensure the implementation of legal aid services that seeks the welfare or the welfare, promotes the welfare of abused children. It is sad that when a street child is raped and you go to seek help, you have to pay for the services at the hospital and pay for legal services. This shouldn't be our story. And then government should promote children's rights. Children's rights involves all children, and all children includes children in street situations. We're also asking to develop for government, the highest offices, to develop a safety net and healthcare programs that will, that would ensure that each child, especially if in street situation, gets access to birth certificates, NHIS card without renewal limits, and free healthcare. And we are nesting this, this goal or this activity into the first activity. Once it is tied to family welfare, these are going to be taken care of. Next slide, okay. Now the third and not the final one is to ensure that each child gets full access to quality education, including but not limited to the following: free basic schooling, abolish levies. Because I spoke with an NGO that provides, most of those who provide education funding for education for children to go to school. Even the little things that you think parents or other people might be able to help with are a problem. So you do your part as an NGO, and a little contribution that should come from the parent, like paying levies and little fees like that, becomes a problem, and a child could easily drop out of school for reasons like this. And we are asking for the abolition of MA levies, exams fees, extra classes, all this on ancillary fees that comes with education, and provide uniforms, attires for physical education, Friday wear for children in street situation. Feeding should be extended to children in street situation, and ensure strict enforcement of the ban on corporal punishment and abuse in schools, because our children coming from where they are coming from are already traumatized. Research has shown that they experience modest to severe mental health issues. You don't want to put them in a situation where they are being abused and punished in a place like a school where they are supposed to have experience safety. So these are the key elements of the petition. And what I say in conclusion is that our commitment to leave no one behind by 2020 includes children in street situation. The things we have mentioned in the petition covers everything that the SDG stands for. SDG 3, health; SDG 4, education; 5, gender equality; 8, income, employment and income; 10, inequality to be stopped; and above all, like Christiana said, partnerships. So our commitments, 193 countries made a commitment to leave no one behind. And we are here as a team to hold government to that promise, that if they say they are leaving no one behind, this includes street children. So they should tell us what plans they have for street children. And we have started by giving them pointers on what to do about children in street situation. Thank you all for your attention.
Thank you very much, Dr. Denchi. You can now understand how, from the word go, when I met this beautiful doctor, we have become friends professionally and have kept going. Brilliant petition. Like I said, self anniversary is just being used to facilitate this mobilization. It is not an entirely self thing. We are mobilizing, we are coming together, we are pushing ourselves to work in partnership, like Auntie Christiana said, and we are hoping that everybody here would see this as a clarion call that we want change. We want the flag of Ghana to be high. We want to be truly the gateway to Africa, but it will never happen until we all on this platform rally around the flag. We need to rally around the flag, and we need to keep pushing. On this note, we have also seen that it's an election year, and every election year, for someone who works with street children, I will see or I will hear in the news somebody who is street connected youth or child has been used to perpetuate some form of political crime, maim somebody, that kind of thing. So we thought that our peace, if we have 100,000 children on our streets, we need our peace council to be speaking to us. We need our peace council to see that we need to act together. So to do this great presentation for us from the Peace Council, we have Rita Biniwa-Yali, the Deputy Director of Admin and Human Resources, to give us a brief presentation from the Peace Council. So over to you, Biniwa.
Okay, thank you very much, Paul, and thank you for the opportunity to be part of this discussion. We are very grateful, and I will deliver on the peace perspective of bringing not leaving any child behind, and I will start by observing all protocols. And so all countries around the world recognize children are an integral part of the family system and see their welfare as critical. The United Nations, as well as the Constitution of Ghana, have made specific policies and laws for the protection of children. However, most children remain vulnerable to the maltreatment, domestic violence, sexual abuse, child labor exploitation. Most children, especially from the rural communities, are forced into manual work such as agriculture, illegal mining, and commercial sexual exploitation. Most of these children are deprived from schooling, parental love, early socialization, discipline, and the right to play. Online cyber abuse of children, child marriages, female genital mutilation, rape, and defilement of young girls remain a challenge to development. In recent times, we have the COVID-19 pandemic, which could turn into a serious child rights crisis, as hundreds and thousands of most vulnerable children could be exposed to dangerous mix of extreme poverty, malnutrition, hunger as a result of the pandemic. The social economic impact of the pandemic will push many poor households to turn to desperate measures just to survive. Children could face increased risk of child labor and sexual exploitation or of child marriage as families struggle to feed their families. Despite a large expansion of schemes in most countries, including Ghana, existing social protection policies do not sufficiently address the income security of children, particularly in low-income families. In the case for social protection for children, it's compelling in our time. Social protection is both a human right and an economic right. Social protection meaningfully contributes to reducing poverty, exclusion, and inequality. Universally, protection should be sought with priority given to the poorest and the most vulnerable, street children included. To this end, all children must have access to health care, and enjoy income security, at least at a basic level. To be progressively extended, providing access to nutrition, education, and care, and other necessary goods and services. Countries should seek to close gaps in protection through appropriate and effectively coordinated mechanism using the most efficient and effective combination of benefits and schemes in the national context. Social protection measures for children and families should combine preventive, promotion, and active measures, benefits, and social services coordinated with other policies that enhance education, health, literacy, formal employment, and employability. At the Peace Council, a statutory state institution mandated to facilitate and develop mechanisms for conflict prevention, management, resolution, and to build sustainable peace in the country. We will continue to ensure all our engagements are geared towards sustaining the peace in the country, in order to prevent violence which affects children, including street children. I wish to express MPC's appreciation to Street Children Empowerment Foundation for this forum. The forum will provide a platform to deliberate on issues on children, particularly street children. We hope we can continue to collaborate and make the country a safer place for all of our children, regardless of the socio-economic background. I wish we have a fruitful deliberation, and thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much. We will shine in our center because we work with children. We will shine, everybody shine. Then we'll give you fire. Thank you very much. Great. So it's really great to see a state institution
Are we still shining?
and give us this presentation. Okay, it's great to see a state institution join and be able to give us this lovely message. We really do cherish your presence and this message. I'm hoping that all my colleagues, I think for the network of NGOs working with street children, we may be the babies on this platform. There are gurus on this platform. There are organizations that have worked for 15 plus years, 20 plus years, self just 10. So I'm hoping that you will begin to see when we get to the open forum session, how everybody, what we've been doing and how we want state institutions, how we want international bodies to come close. The next section, with you, an invitation to UNICEF, Hilda Mensah and another specialist from UNICEF to give us a speech. If you are here from UNICEF, we have been trying to, people join with different IDs, so we've been trying to locate who. You can just wave and I will unmute your mic and you'll make your presentation from UNICEF. Okay, Hilda Mensah just joined, so I'm asking her to unmute. So Hilda, you are on. We are glad to have you.
Thank you very much, Paul. Good morning to everyone. It's my pleasure to join this virtual conference. We look forward to the discussion for the day. Let me just say, Paul, that I may not be able to make a formal presentation from UNICEF, but then as a discussion goes on, I may be able to make a contribution. And the only reason is that there's we have a specialist who works on street children, but unfortunately, he's also locked up in another commitment, which was way committed before we got your invitation. But subsequently, I'll link you up to him so you can have a chat with him regarding whatever collaboration there may exist with your foundation. But otherwise, myself, I'm going to stay with you through this virtual conference. It's quite very important. And I'm very particularly happy that Street Children's Foundation continue to look out for the rights of children on the street, and in particular, making recommendations for their care and protection. And in that regard, I wish to congratulate the Street Children Foundation again, also for taking steps to hold this conference. So well done, and I wish you a very fruitful deliberation today. But I'm here. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Hilda, for joining. We are indeed honored to still have you listening in. We know that, like you say, whatever we are saying here was our ears, and gradually we would be able to reconvene, maybe under another organization hosting us on any event or any other platform or celebration, so that together we can keep rallying around the flag. At this point, before we let our political parties join, we have NDC MPP joining us to tell us the causes they have identified for children being on our streets and their solutions professed for their manifesto. The Deputy General Secretary of NDC, Mr. Peter Buama Otokuno, agreed to be here. We also have Faisal Musa Mohammed joining us from the communication team. Once they get ready for it, I'll open the forum now. We have heard key messages. We've heard the petitions. There will be a comment from all my senior colleagues, Kinder Paradise, CFC, Street Girls Age, Future of Africa, Race of Hope, Safe Advocacy, Safe Child Advocacy, Street Children's Project. Sister Vivian, forgive me. I'm trying to get used to the new name. If you have any quick comment, or the general floor has quick comment, it's welcome for you to make it before we go to our political parties. You can raise your hand or you can unmute your mic and make your comment. It could be a question, it could be a contribution to all the discussion that have been made. Our journalists in our midst, if you have any question, please feel free to unmute your mic and ask your question. Who is giving us the first comment? I see Mirabel, your mic is unmuted. You can ask us your question. Okay. No questions, no comments. Someone needs to break the ice, then we can have this open forum on.
Well,
yes.
Sorry, I joined quite late, so pardon me if it's been discussed already. Have you given us a snapshot of what the current situation is for street children already?
I think Dr. Denchi has done.
Say again.
Dr. Denchi has done quite some work on this. She commented briefly. She made a presentation briefly on this, so she may be the best to respond to that, Dr. Denchi.
Okay. Okay, and then also from your perspective as a foundation, how has the COVID-19 impacted on the children, and particularly because it's also a time where a lot of civil society organizations may not have received funding due to the current situation we are in. How has that also impacted on the foundation? And do you have some plans for strategic engagements? Thank you.
Great. Dr. Denchi, you take the first, I take the second, and I'll allow my other senior colleagues to also say what is going on in their respective centers and organizations. Your mic is muted.
Yes, okay. Right. Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity. And thank you, Hilda, for the question. I think in my overview, I mentioned that the current situation from a researcher's point of view, the phenomenon is not getting any better. Formerly, we used to know that there were two types of street children: the children off the streets, those who live and work on the street, who majority of our NGOs work with, and then there are the minority, those who come and will labor on the street and go back home. But over the years, the dimensions, they are multifaceted. The dimensions are widening so that it's a very complex situation now. But all we know is that they are increasing in numbers, but we still don't have accurate statistics. And I wouldn't say it's global, but we can do our best in finding out who are these children. The NGOs have done their research. CAS started, Catholic Action for Street Children, started, and then in 2010, 2011, there was a census in the Greater Accra region, funded by an Italian government, and then CAS, and the Department of Street Children. And that census revealed that in Greater Accra alone, there were over 60,000 children, the category of children called street children. There were 60,492 children only in the Greater Accra region. And we know these children are attracted to cities. So we also have our secondary Takrad, we have Kumasi. We don't have the numbers for Kumasi and secondary Takrad and Tamale. But for Greater Accra, and this was way back in 2012. I mean, the data was revealed in 2012, but the census was in 2010, 2011. That showed that's over 60,000 children. And out of the 60,000, 65% of these are those who live and work on the streets. So, and then another 20-something are those who go home. And then the remaining are the children that are born to children on the street, where Street Girls Aid is very actively working with. But they are the second generation of street children who are born on the street. After that census, we haven't had any other census, and it makes it very difficult to make interventions for them. So we are also seeing that the current situation is that there are no specialized interventions targeted at street children. They fall in a category called orphaned and vulnerable children, OVCs. But all the provisions that have been made, even the current child and family welfare policy, makes very, very little provision for children in street situations. So by way of the current situation, and I also mentioned and highly commended the work of NGOs. In the last 2 years, I've been interviewing NGOs that are working with street children, and they've been doing an amazing. I don't know where these children would be if the NGOs were not working. So in Ghana, the NGOs have been spearheading work on street children. So that is by way of current situation of street children. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The second part, which is
yes. So before you go to the second part,
yes.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ernestina. It was a helpful overview you provided, and I think that the fact that it was done some few years back, I think that the issues that were identified will still be very relevant, and therefore will inform whatever policy recommendations that we may be making to government and, of course, to political parties. But again, I think it's a worrying situation, and we need to find a way to integrate these children into some proper systems, be it with families, be it with foster parents, and then be it with government-owned institutions for addressing street children, streetism. And then also, I don't know whether the nature of education is here, but to what extent are they absorbing these children? I know that the Street Foundation, which the real organization I have gone to before, set up some system for educating these children. But beyond the foundation, how is the Ministry of Education and the Ghana Education Service absorbing these children? Because majority of them, I think the biggest worrying side is the fact that they become beggars on the street. All of them have the potential. And as a country, I don't think we've done well in addressing the streetism. We need to address it in a manner that should see a reducing number, not an increasing number. But each day you drive through the streets of Accra, which is where I live, you see that the numbers keep increasing. The number of child beggars keeps increasing, and it's quite very worrying. And at the same time, we do know that you have a social welfare system that, in terms of human resource and financial capacity, is a bit limited. But yet, a lot also lies on them to address, because we can't have police picking children off the streets. We should have the social welfare system trying to address that problem. And if that means that social welfare needs to raise or advocate to government, they need to have more resources to be able to attend these children. They need to do so because that is the institution that is mandated to do so. We can't afford to watch on. Now, my biggest worry is that Ghana is beyond aid, or we say Ghana is beyond aid, and we are having reducing funding attraction at the moment. And that has huge implication for the civil society organizations that are working around street children, because the amount of funding they receive is likely to reduce. And the COVID-19 even makes it worse. So how do we as a country and as institutions that have been mandated to really see to the plight of children address these? And so I would only make a recommendation that we also, in your own advocacy, beyond this meeting, I suppose that the advocacy will continue, but government must empower the institution with the relevant resources to be able to address the issue of children. We should see a reducing number of children, not an increasing number of children. And we should not also look at street children as a class of people who exist as what it is. Our objective is to take them off the streets until we do not have street children anymore. So we should not have a class of children named street children, ideally, because they ought not to be there. The state should ensure that they are not there. And so when we are raising our voices should be that get these children off the street and give them a place and a platform where they can thrive, where we can discover their potential, and where they can also have the opportunity to contribute to the national agenda when they go into adulthood. That's what I'll say. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Your question was in two parts. Now I'm going to go to the second. Before Akwesi prepare, I see your hand up. Let's address the second part of the Menson's question, then we come to you. So I'll give senior colleague Vida Asumini Amwako, Street Girls Aid Director, who is also here, the platform first to talk about the impact of COVID on her operations. From there, I'll go to Silky, Kinder Paradise. From there, I'll go to Street Children's Project, and then probably I'll be the last. So, Auntie Vida, over to you.
Okay, good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Yeah.
The mic miss.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
We can.
Okay.
We can hear.
So in terms of COVID's impact on our work, I think that I'm sure everybody all over the world was greatly impacted by COVID, and especially during the lockdown. As I think Ernestina mentioned it, there were a lot of issues with our children on the street because of the fact that they couldn't find food to eat. At one time, we had to even step in to provide them food because nobody was looking after them. We kept asking social welfare what exactly that they are doing, and they kept saying they are coming, and finally, I think they were able to look after a few children, but majority of them had to struggle through the time, and we had to look for funding from elsewhere to provide food packages for some of them so that they could at least feed their families for a few days or weeks. Moving forward, work on the streets has also been somehow limited because of issues with social distancing and having to, and primarily funding also because a lot of the donors that we rely on also had funding issues, and then it means that they cannot send us funds to be able to work. So work has really been greatly been affected. One of our programs, which is Early Childhood Center, which is more like a school, has actually been closed down because of government directives on education, schools being closed down. So what we had tried to do in terms of meeting the needs of our children is to do what we call the ECD outreach program. So we go out with, our teachers go out to try and engage the children on the streets with books and educational materials so that they would not be left out, because other children are benefiting from the TV programs that is being organized by the state and other things. Our children on the street do not have access to these things. So it means that they've been left out from this all-important education that will fill the vacuum during this time. So in brief, that's what we've been able to do as an organization. And I think that in general, COVID has really affected what we can do for these children in terms of numbers of children that we can work with, in terms of programs that we had even planned to do during the year. We had to somehow stop some of these programs or limit numbers so that we don't, all of us and our children will be safe. So briefly, that's what we've been doing. But I think that in terms of what our children need, I think that one of the things that I see is mental health, like they need services that would help them to cope. A lot of the children on the street are in trauma because of either the COVID or because of either issues that they have faced during their life before the street or after the street. And I think that in our petition, we should have something around it so that we'll have specialists deal with these children. Sometimes when you say they have mental issues, people think they are mad. It's not mad. We are not saying that their children are mad, but we think that every program that we want to do with the children, if we have these specialist services, it will go a long way to help them go. If they want to go to school, we have to help them to psych themselves up before they can go to school. If they have to go into livelihood training, the same has to apply. So we have to really, going forward, we have to really look at that seriously. Thank you for your attention. I think as we get along, if I have something else to say, I would bring it up. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. I just want to say that in 2 minutes, if my senior colleagues, because of the Zoom, if I give you the chance, just let's do it briefly, then we can go on. The NDC Deputy General Secretary would want to join us in 2 minutes. He is on the campaign trail, like we all know, and he really wants to go. So I will crave your indulgence, Silky, Daniela, and my other colleagues that will have to give a brief talk on what is the impact of COVID on your centers. I see Araba join us also from Village of Hope. We would all have a brief chance to say briefly what is going on in our centers, how COVID impacted our work. But before that, in 1 minute, we'll have the NDC Deputy General Secretary join us with his comments. So thank you very much. Amma Cromwell, I see your hand up. I'm going to call you. I've written down your name. So Kwesi prepare Amma Cromwell. When we all give our comments, then we are able to give. I see also here, Christ the King Soup Kitchen join us. Christ the King started a very outstanding project. And I have to say that during the lockdown, among all of us, they were also doing quite a lot of outreach work with Father Campbell and all of that. So we are happy that everybody is joined and is able to. I'm waiting for signal that the NDC General Secretary can join us, and we will take his comment. In the meantime, if you have any questions as well, just so you don't lose it, you may be able to put it in the comment chat box, and I will read it. We will take answers from it. So we do not have your hands waiting and maybe you forget your question. So do not wait too long. Just put it in the comment box for everyone to see, and we will take it from there. With that, okay, so I am getting indications that Mr. Otokuno is joining us soon, but okay, maybe not yet. Silke, is it possible that you may be able to start a brief presentation on the impact of COVID at your center?
Yes, I will try to do it brief so that in case we will be joined by the NDC representative. Yeah, the impact. I think all of us, we realized that COVID had a very, very huge impact. It took us by surprise and it overwhelmed everybody. And whilst during the lockdown, even it was difficult to let me say, come together even with other stakeholders or the Department of Social Welfare, because everybody, I think, had to think of how to solve the situation. And we realized that actually during this time, it would have been perfect, like our sister talked about at the beginning, about partnership and coming together. You know, that would things would have those who were ready to go home. We had educational talks about COVID and their situation and what could happen on the streets. We were able to send some of them home, but other ones decided to just be on the street. And during this time also we tried to do follow-ups, and after the lockdown we also started feeding. We did COVID-19 training with the kids to let them understand the impact of COVID, and we still do our follow-up on regular basis. And now we are looking at something what we are trying to find mentors who are maybe ready to assist with letting the kids do, I will not say at the moment at this time a kind of apprenticeship, but we spoke to some of the kids who are ready, who want to learn something, and we found some like carving, stress, tailors who are ready or willing to bring them in for a time to study them, and for the children also to see if maybe that is something they would like to do, and they will not charge us, they will just let us help with feeding fee. So that is something we are working on, just to help some of them. It's just, I know, only a small number, but I think now we have to focus and see how best we can maybe change our approach. And what I would like to say, it is very, very important that we will all come together, join hands, so that we can have a bigger impact. And working together with the Department of Social Welfare, I think they had their own issues. So they were even overwhelmed during this time, that it was difficult to get them, or even to maybe discuss some of the ideas. So, and also the donation coming here in Ghana. And I think when we go to the streets, even we see more children on the streets. So that was my little contribution. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Silke, for that. We will go straight to Sister Olivia all the way in Kumasi to tell us impact of COVID on your operations. Sister Olivia? Okay. we wait for her to unmute. Let me move to Daniela then, CFC, ED of CSC. Daniela.
Yes, please. Good morning again. Yes, I think I absolutely agree with all of you that COVID had a big impact and still has. So we have been also immediately during lockdown building up food sharing programs in Kumasi, Tamale, and Accra. We also had to stop street work for some time in Accra, but taking it up now again. The drop-in center in Accra had to be closed down, but has been opened also now again, according to special guidelines and a limited number of children. So we are very happy that that is running now again. And in Kumasi, we work together actually with Sister Olivia, with Street Children Project, and Tijani from Muslim Family Counseling Service. They have been keeping on doing street work and sharing food up till now. So that has also seen as a very good thing, as you all said, to partner together and plan interventions together. I think is really the key of success. And in Tamale as well, fortunately, COVID doesn't have yet, and hopefully will not have such a big impact in the northern region. So there it has been easier to keep working during that time as well. So I would say also in terms of numbers of children, we have definitely seen an increase of number of street-connected children on the street, considering also that schools are closed. Many more, we see especially girls moving to the street, especially of course in Tamale and Kumasi. So that's a big concern to us to address the girls issue as well. So I think that there's many things we all need to address, right? To look at as Madam Ernestina said, at the children in different street situations.
Daniela is speaking.
Right now, we are facilitating reintegration. So we adjusted the reintegration of children directly back from the street to our drop-in center to families all over Ghana. Okay. Also considering how in the pandemic by workers staying safe, but still finding ways how we can do assessments of families as well. So that has been our main concentration. And yeah, I think to what you said, I really appreciate that very much, that we look at international standards, how we should work together. And I think it's a key that we really strategize our interventions together on the street. I think many of us have been doing food sharing, hygiene education, all that, and which is great. But I think we could do it much better if we find really the strategy together and know exactly what each of us is doing in which area. So I think that lays really deeply on my heart to do that better.
Okay, thank you very much, Sister Olivia. She joined us now. Please up.
Yeah, thank you very much. It's been a very enriching session, very enriching morning already. I'm so thankful to Christiana for all of the insights she shared during the opening remarks, because they really touch at the heart of things. I always say it that collaboration, partnership is the way to go now. We were okay then to work independently and put in all the energies we have put in, as you know, and we have discovered from our experiences that a tree can't make a forest, and that we would get exhausted, our resources exhausted, our brains, everything exhausted, and we would not change a thing around the problem that we are trying to address. But if we come together, as Christiana has said it so beautifully in so many ways, we would certainly be listened to. We would be louder together, and everybody will be forced to stop to listen to us. It's like a lone voice. You keep making noise, and it has been identified long before now that the problem of CSO in Ghana, in Africa generally, is, you know, the lack of a common voice. So I want to say that I sincerely appreciate this morning session very much. And it was backed up by the chairman's remark. And of course, Dr. Anastasia's input. Sorry, I didn't stay through all of Anastasia's inputs because I have another online meeting which I am making a presentation to attend. I'm still on it, but my whole staff in the office are on this particular webinar. And so they are following everything, and they drew my attention to the fact that we are to share our experience of the COVID-19, which Daniela has actually started sharing because she brought us into it. Our experience of COVID-19 has been, would I say, quite dramatic. As you know, the pandemic took us all unawares. We were all planning about this conference or a similar activity to mark the 10th anniversary of the Street Children Empowerment Foundation, as you are all aware. And then we were saying, are we going to do it together? Are we going to do it how? All of the arguments, ignorantly, not knowing that there were things that we cannot control and manage that didn't depend on our decisions and everything. And then the COVID came and we were all thrown into it. At first in my institution, we were kind of shocked, and we sat to discuss how to address it. The first reaction was, oh, let's close down because it will be very risky and everything. And then we closed down for a few days. And then I called an online meeting of my management team, and we met and we said, but we can't close down because these children depend a lot on us. And the city is locked down, and where are they going to stay safe? How do they stay safe? Do they understand what staying safe means? So we have to do something. So we put up a relief program together, and then we set out to provide relief materials, food, cooked food, dried food, hand sanitizer, sharing PPEs and all of that. But more than that, we got into education in their hideouts. We try to go in to educate the children and the women on how to stay safe, what it meant to stay safe, to get them to understand the whole thing. And we realized there was so much suffering, there was so much hunger, and the government food was not forthcoming. So we really had to take the horn, is it? The bull by the horn. And we put up a lot of social media communications, and through that we were able to mobilize resources that we responded with. Even till now, we are still responding. We collaborated with other partners in Kumasi here, the Muslim Family Counseling Services, Chance for Children, and I think about 3 other organizations to provide these relief materials, because the areas were many to cover and the number of children were huge. Yes, and then we also collaborated with the government agencies, the Department of Social Welfare and all of that. The areas were massive to cover and the number of children. So we shared ourselves into different areas in order not to duplicate efforts, as Christiana said earlier. And so we were able to reach out to, over 1,000 street connected persons, including beggars on the streets, with our cooked food 3 times a week, and dried food we shared every 2 weeks, generally. And then the aspect that I like very much we did was that we talked the children into reuniting with their families, reintegrating with their families, and we were able to support nearly 100 children to return home. And we are accompanying some of those children who have kept in touch with us with support in skill training. Some of them want support for formal education, which we have promised to take them on. And then we are waiting for the schools to start. But I think about 50, between 50 and 70 are benefiting from support and skill training currently. We also collaborated with organizations in the North, AFDOM, African Development Organization for Migration, and Yankoro Youth Association. They are into skill training for vulnerable youths. We collaborated with these organizations to help us to reintegrate the children and to help us to enroll them in skill training in their various communities. So for us, really, collaboration is at our heart, and we want to do it. But it's not easy. We will really need to come together and define how to do it. It's okay to do it the haphazard way. We have children, can you help us to meet their families since you live in that area, and then you agree and you do that and we transfer money and you do it. But I think we can go more than that. We can go further than that. So this is how we have, this is how we have responded to COVID-19. I don't know if anything I have left behind. My staff, my management team are listening. They can also put in. It is also very necessary that we petition the highest decision-making body, as stressed by Dr. Ernestina. It is good. That's why I am really passionate about this conference, because we are addressing those who matter, those who hold our mandates, and we give them the mandates, but we don't demand them to kind of account for the mandates that we give to them. So I am really happy on the direction that we are going, and we won't stop today. I hope we have to take it up from here and ensure that we demand accountability from those we give the mandate to control our resources and to include our children in decision making. Our children really suffer and are really left in the margins in every administration. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, that is. I hope our media journalists that are on this call are listening. This is also being broadcasted live on all social media. This is reaching about 10,000 people. We are speaking to Ghanaians.
Good.
We are telling our colleague Ghanaians watching on social media that we need to demand. I have to say, we serve letters to the three highest bodies. In the beginning, the Flagstaff House responded and said they would have us bring the physical petition. The Chief Justice Office responded and said they will have us bring the physical petition, the same as the Speaker of Parliament. So the three arms of government responded. We served them a notice again when we're going to do this conference. So ordinarily, we expected that if themselves will be listening to this, our voices, our situation, our frustration, at working, trying to help not just our children, but this country's children, the taxpayers' children. So, but quite like everything, we start small, we gather momentum, and we keep going. This is to respond to Amma Cromwell's question. We are not going to stop here, like Sister Olivia said. We will keep going. In the beginning, it will seem strange, like Auntie Christiana also said, it will look like we are losing ourselves, but no, we are going to keep our independent identities as organizations, but we are going to be united on this cause. This is an election year, and Ghanaians deserve to vote based on people who are thinking about their children's future. We are not going to be quiet. We are not going to be like scared and be cowardized and hide in our individual organizations. We are going to come out, and we want to see the manifesto of the NDC. What is it saying about our children? We want to see the manifesto of MPP. What is it saying about our children in street situations? We want to see CPP, we want to see PPP, we want to see GUM, we want to see anybody who feels they are fit to be president of this country must have a plan for our children. If you don't have that plan, we are sorry, but we will not side with you. We are on the side of people who care about the future of our country. I wake up 8 to 5, 10 good years, I have given my life to this, and I have people who have given their life 20 years, 30 years, helping children on our streets, trying to mobilize individuals, private individuals to give money. Dr. Denchi is not doing this because she's being paid any consultant. We are all doing this because we believe in this concept we call Ghana, this concept we call a country, the social contract we have signed. We believe in that. We believe as civil society that we have a role to play, but we do not think that that role is ours to take. We are to support the government, the gaps that are there, but the government must be willing to open the door for us to work with you. If you are not willing to open the doors to work with you, there is nothing we can do. We can keep scratching the face of the problem, but we'll never get to the root cause of the problem. You are the father, the mother, the grandmother of all the children in this country, and we expect that leadership. Whoever wants to be in the Flagstaff House in 2021 should come out and tell us. We have invited them, we've given them letters, we have called them, we've emailed them with all their social media handles. We have gone there, we have knocked at their doors. Myself and my team tirelessly, without relenting, have been knocking on all the party doors, calling them 8 to 5 to make sure they give us the aside. Is it that they do not have any plans for our children on the streets? If they do have, we want to hear it. But before I end it, I think NDC General Secretary says he's on the campaign trail, and that is true. It's an inactive political season, so he wants to join. But in the meantime that he's not here, we're not going to be waiting. We will keep going. And if we have to close that he's not able to join, it's not only NDC we invited. We invited the MPP, we served the presidency, we served the party headquarters, the general secretary, we served all that matter in all the political parties, and we have evidences, reference letters to each of them being invited. So it's not just say that they didn't attend. They need to let us know. We will keep coming. We'll keep coming. We will not stop there. Amma Cromwell, that is to react to your answer. I'll come to Christ the King Soup Kitchen. If you quickly can tell us your impact of COVID and what you did. Race of Hope, you will take over from there, and then we will have, I don't know if Future of Africa is here, but we will take that and then we'll go on. So over to you, Christ the King Soup Kitchen. If you are talking, we can't hear you. I have asked you to unmute. Christ the King Soup Kitchen. Okay. If Christ the King Soup Kitchen. Okay. So we go to Race of Hope. If you can tell us what's going on in your center. Impact of COVID on your operations.
Hello, Paul and everyone. I'm really glad to hear the submissions of everybody concerning this cause which we are all fighting. I mean, we all are doing something great in our individual centers.
Richmond, you are breaking away.
I'd like to commend each and everyone. Slow down our activities to an extent over. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you now. We can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay.
Your line has...
Yes, I was saying that I'm grateful for everybody for their submissions, and I'm happy to note that we have also... Okay. Thank you. Yeah, for Race of Hope, at a point, we made our children be with us for a while, but after about 3 weeks, we had to make them go because of, with respect to social distancing whatsoever. But so what happened is we
Richmond, we are losing you again.
We made the children go. We realized that was our children. They were not. Wow. Okay, it's better. Okay, then
yes.
I don't know if probably there's a reception, but if you don't mind, I could just send a text message.
Yes, please do that. Thank you very much. Send it in the chat. Thank you. Okay, Kaiser King, I see your mic is unmuted now, so can you make your presentation, impact of COVID on your operations? Kaiser King Soup Kitchen. Okay, we'll go to Village of Hope then. Araba Hammond, if you tell us impact of COVID on your operations and any comments you may have.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, okay. Yes, so just briefly, you know, ours is a residential program, and so and for some of you, we've partnered to have some of the kids come here. So it's rehab, it's reintegration, and skill training. So when COVID hit, it caught us unawares, but the key thing that affected our decisions was, you know, would the children benefit if they were back home or if they were still here with us? So we didn't treat it as just a school and follow the directives of schools closing down, but we looked at the shelter aspect of it and decided that it will serve the children's best interest if they still lived on campus. Now, the challenge was that it meant that the staff who work here and live on campus would also have to be here for as long as the kids are here. So since March, the 2 breaks that the children usually have as part of their reintegration process hasn't happened. So the staff are always on call 24 hours, you know, every day of the week. So, you know, there's some aspect of burnout when it comes to the staff. Then the kids are also, you know, it's mostly teenagers. And so that feeling of being restricted is something that we have to deal with all the time. You know, these are the rules because of COVID. You have to keep doing education on COVID and letting them understand why they can't leave campus anymore. And it's a struggle, honestly. Then there's the other aspect of, you know, what to do with people who would typically have come. So donations are not coming in because people visit and then make the donations. And so that has, you know, dwindled, and we've had to figure out how to operate with the barest minimum. So there are some things that we can't do or will not do anymore so that we can feed the kid and we can get the basic programs running. And then the other challenge is that some people come and, you know, it's Ghanaian culture. We came to see the kids and socialize with them. And so you have to do this whole battle with people who, irrespective of COVID, don't understand that you have to do social distancing. And so they can't come and have a party with the kids. So we've actually had people go away with their donations because they couldn't just deal with, oh, I just came to make a generous donation and I came to see the kids, you know, I need to be with them. So, you know, those are some of the heavy sorts of things that we've had to deal with. Things are picking up a bit. One other aspect is, you know, part of our skill training program, out of that, the kids learn how to sew clothes, how to make bags, and our fundraising depended a lot also on the products that are made here. And of course, people are not traveling, people are not coming to see the items, people are not shopping online to help raise funds. And so that's it's hit us from all those angles. So we are hoping that, you know, with things leveling up a bit on COVID, our activities will pick up. But I wanted to make a couple of comments, you know, based on what Paul said, just writing off of what Paul said, that, you know, it's about time that we let our leaders, people understand that at the end of the day, all of this comes back to affect us. You understand? If you are building your empire, you are building your career, you are building your family, and you are neglecting the less fortunate or the people who didn't have the opportunities that you had. At the end of the day, I mean, if you like it or not, they are going to be the people who become the robbers that we fear. And so we have to spend money reinforcing, you know, our homes and putting all the security there. And not because it was their choice, but we neglected to bring them along with us. So we have to put a personal touch to this thing and move away from just talking and these are the policies and this is what we want to see. We all don't want to, you know, label people as street kids or as, you know, disadvantaged youth or whatever. But it is the situation on the ground, and it's about time that, you know, we all go past the talking and get some action. So yes, I agree with the idea that we have to see exactly what people who want to be in leadership have to offer so that we can work together to solve this problem. It doesn't make sense that it's been, you know, Paul is talking about 10 years. It's been so many years, and yet it's like we get one set out, another set is there. It can't go on forever. Otherwise, it's like, you know, we are trying to make sure this problem lasts so that we all have jobs. But I don't think that's the purpose of, you know, any of us here. And so, yes, it's about time. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That's again emphasizing the point. We will take, I don't know if any organization is here apart from Christ the King that may want to make a comment on that. Then we would all just take a quick affirmation of commitment to this cause, and then we can bring this to a close. We have tried calling all the political parties. We have also told them, the three arms of government told us they would want another date that they can respond to the petition. And we will gladly have them if they give us a date. If the political parties want another date that we would listen to their issues, I think all of us here would avail ourselves to hear them and give them and ask them questions so that we can see how they can. So we are not going to relent. We have called them today. They couldn't make it. We give them benefit of doubt. It's a campaign season. They had their own itinerary before. We are trying to bring this into their itinerary. But we really need to hear their voice. There's over 100,000 children on our streets. If this is not a national security issue, I don't know what else is. If this is not a priority for John Mahama, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, then I don't know what else is. If you cannot speak to us as Ghanaians and tell us during COVID, you spent 57 million Ghana cedis to feed our children on the streets. We are working directly with these children. We are asking, tell us your plans. We want you to tell us. It's just an appeal. We have come diplomatically to you. We wanted to marshal all the children to the Flagstaff House, but COVID stopped us. But online, we are pressing. We are appealing, or we are demanding as well that you attend to our call and give us what we need. Christ the King, do you want to tell us? Then we take our closing remarks from Auntie Christiana, and then we will take from Dr. Denchi, Auntie Christiana, and anybody else that may have concluding remarks. Christ the King. Okay, Christ the King again could not. Okay, unmuted. Yes, please go ahead. You're unmuted, but we can't hear you. Yes, we can hear you still. We can still not hear Christ the King, quite unfortunately. Any there was a question from Akwesi Prepra. I hope we have answered your question. If not, please ask your question and any other comments, then we can end this in the next 5 minutes. Okay, Akwesi's question seems to have been answered. Let's come for concluding remarks, Dr. Deichi. Akwesi, your hand is still up. You can unmute and ask your question.
Yeah, hello.
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Yeah, good morning to you all once again. And also a very big thank you to you for cooking up this whole idea. We are so much thankful to you and also very privileged to have this platform to also share our views. We've all talked about the impact of COVID-19 on our work, but what I would like to touch on, or the question I'd like to ask is, like you just mentioned, the government said they spent almost 54 million Ghana cedis to feed children in street situation, which we were all looking forward if they could come and they let us know what they were about and the kind of thing that we did with our money just for accountability purposes. But unfortunately, none of them came through to let us know. But my question is, during the lockdown, government fed children, provided for them. So what is government doing aftermath lockdown? Because you and I, or all of us are aware that the coronavirus is still on, and we are not relented in also giving back to these vulnerable children. We at Safe Child Advocacy, formerly Street Children Project, have been doing a lot in this regard. Now we are still feeding people, we are still giving them education, still providing protective gears in order to save them from contracting this virus. That is what we are doing as CSOs to help these children in vulnerable situations. What I want to know is, what is the government doing aftermath of the lockdown restriction with respect to COVID-19 and its impact on vulnerable children in this situation? Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you very much, Akwesi Prepra. And I have to say that Safe Child.
The name is Akwesi Prempe.
Akwesi Prempe. Akwesi Prempe. Thank you very much, Akwesi Prempe.
Yeah,
and I have to say that Safe Child Advocacy is actually the warden of the North. You are holding the North, the middle belt for all the street children coming from Tamale and all the North before they come down. And you are doing superb partnership with CFC, Muslim Counseling Services, Street Invest, and all the other key partners in the North. This is an example of partnership work. I am hoping that in the South, in Accra, we will all not see ourselves as competitors, but we will see ourselves and have more partnership work. I have had very great talk with the leader of CFC, same with Kinder Paradise, same with Araba, and I'm hoping that, guys, let's, for the interest of the children on the streets, we cannot do it in silos. We can't do it in silos. Except what we quickly did during COVID was to do a big education, position Veronica buckets, give food items, just like all of you were doing. And now we have done an assessment of the parents, the children. We are working with their parents to kind of see where we can give skills development, enterprise, entrepreneurship support, so they can like come back from the loss of capital and money and all of that. So we are all doing quite similar interventions. We are all pushing very hard, but on the front, we need, my comment, this is a start. We have to keep going. Dr. Denchi, you will give us your final remarks, and Auntie Ernestina will close us, and also with prayer. Your mic is still on mute. Okay.
Okay, so thank you, Paul, and thank you all for the submissions. It's heartwarming to know that you were all working during the period of difficulty. I always say that the passion of the NGOs towards street children, I mean, it's enviable. And when everybody abandoned them, when government thought it was doing something for them, they were not doing anything at all. It still took you to hold the fort and continue to sustain these children. So we can only say kudos. And as we said, Madam Christiana said in the beginning, much of your work goes unnoticed, and that breaks my heart. Because people say all sorts of things. People think you are in it for the money. People think you are in it for the goodies. And people want to see results, and these things take time. And once they don't see, they think you are doing the wrong things, but they don't know what you are doing. And that is why we are on this campaign to let the world and Ghana know that you are working hard, and we need the right support. We need the right people to listen to us. We need the right people to partner with us. And it's unfortunate that the political parties couldn't make it. And like Paul said, let's give them the benefit of the doubt. Being on a campaign trail, it's not an excuse. We are a constituency on our own. This is a big constituency on our own, and we are giving them the platform to campaign. And sometimes I shudder to think if they have a message at all, but let's still give them the benefit of the doubt. We are not going to relent. We'll keep knocking on the doors. And when they call us, they give us another date. I hope that we'll all come in our numbers to listen to them and show them the way. Our frustration over the years have been because government is not partnering with us enough. And the clarion call has been to tell them that we are on the grounds, come to us. So if they ask for another date for us to meet with them, we are going to come. So come 2021, whoever marches to the Flagstaff House is going to work with us. So that level of frustration will be curtailed. So in conclusion, I just want to say that let's keep doing what we are doing. Let's keep knocking on the doors. Let's partner. It's not easy. We're not used to doing things like that, but we learn. And COVID has shown us that partnerships is the way. So let's keep partnering. We started something in January, and we are going to continue after this, and we are going to make sure that our voices are heard. Let's partner, let's soldier on for these children. Posterity will bless us. Posterity will honor us for what we are doing. So thank you all for this opportunity, and let's keep marching on.
Thank you very much, Auntie Christiana.
Okay.
Pardon? So after close us in prayer.
Oh, very, very quickly. I'm very, very excited about the energy and, the contribution that everybody has given today. And those of you who went on the platform earlier that did not hear my presentation, I think that Paul is recording it, so you can, go back to it. Yes. Thank you so much, NGOs. You are wonderful people. You have actually done brilliantly. And I sit here in England and, I hear things that you're doing for children and families in Ghana and street children in particular. And anytime I've been to Ghana and I've actually gone outside and I see these children on the streets, come on, it really breaks my heart. And hence I decided to join SERVE, and I've now become a board member to support. My thing is that it takes partnership to actually get this to work. Even in England, it took as partnership work to actually support vulnerable children, because vulnerable children come with all kinds of things. Some of them are on drugs, some of them are raped. All kinds of institutions need to actually come together to really effectively support vulnerable children. And in England in 2004, as I said in my earlier presentation, it had to take the law to change. So we have a law, the Children's Act 2004. Please Google it. It was all about how we want to work in partnership with each other to support children and families. So yes, I respect independent agencies and you're doing brilliantly well. However, you will continue to go unnoticed if you don't have one voice. If there isn't a strategic plan that you all work to. So as I said earlier, here, silo working is actually really just almost disappearing, but not completely, because it's also got its place in supporting children and young people. So in conclusion, I'm so excited with the energy in which everybody has actually come on the platform. I wasn't actually expecting this, to be quite honest with you. I'm so thrilled that you guys are not giving up. We're here, we're supporting you. Press on, move on, give yourself that strong voice. Keep these politicians, make them accountable. If it needs legislation changes, push for it, because you have done your bottom up. That is what you're doing. And it's not actually top down. We want to work bottom up, push up. They will eventually come and meet you halfway for the partnership that you require to support children and families who are on the street. So I'm not kicking silo working, not at all. I think that it's got its place, but we need to actually learn to work together, to work collaboratively with each other. And remember, it's not just the NGOs that need to come into partnership as well, because the issues that children bring, it cuts across all kinds of areas. So we need our partnerships also with the police, with the welfare organizations in Ghana. You need it with the schools, you need it with the education department, you need it with the hospitals, the nurses. And as somebody said earlier, that some of these children have got mental health issues. So you need your partnerships with all these groups to make it effective and to make it work. Again, there's not much money going around in the world at the moment because of COVID. So I'm sure a lot of you, your funding will also be impacted. So it will take partnership work to make this work, because you can actually share expertise with each other. You can procure services together. So we are backing you and continue the hard work. God bless all of you for the work that you do for street children. Thank you so much.
Thank you. If you kindly close us in prayer, Auntie Christiana.
What, you mean I have to pray again?
Oh, you have prayed. Thank you.
No, I haven't prayed. I haven't prayed. I can pray. I was just asking whether you want me to pray.
Yes, yes.
Okay. All right. I'm assuming that all of us we believe in prayer, because there are a lot of people here. Okay. So Father God, we just want to thank you. Lord, we thank you for such an exciting day and a brilliant day with the different voices. And Father, I'm so grateful to you that there's so much passion, that people are concerned, because your word in the Bible says that you, God, the religion that actually means so much to you is a religion that supports children, that support orphans, support people who are poor. And I'm sure, Father, you are in this with us together to ensure that children who end up in the streets for no fault of theirs, that you will help the work of the NGOs, that you give them a voice, Father God, that you will help them press on, that they will not get weary, that you by your Spirit will also help them to get the attention that they need. In the name of Jesus Christ, we've prayed with thanksgiving. Amen and amen.
Amen. Thank you, everyone.
Amen. Amen.
It's been an honor having all of you. Goodbye. We will keep in touch and we will let you know the next course of action.
Congratulations, Seth. Congratulations.
Okay.
Big congratulations.
Thank you.
And thanks, everyone. Thanks, everyone.
All right. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Oh, we'll talk later. Well, I have to go to another meeting very